Welcome to my channel, where we delve deep into the most pressing global geopolitical issues. Today, we're exploring the escalating conflict in Burkina Faso and how it has become a battleground for global powers. If you haven't already, could you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on critical world events? Let's dive in. On August 19, 2024, the town of Barsalogho in Burkina Faso's Sanmatenga province became the site of a horrific attack. The militant jihadist group, Jama'at Nasr al-Islam wal-Muslimin, or JNIM, launched a brutal assault on the Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland, VDP, killing up to 200 people. The VDP, a civilian defense group, was formed by the Burkinabe government to combat rising jihadist threats. But this attack was more than just another tragic event. It marked a significant escalation in the region's ongoing conflict. Screams pierced the air, a symphony of terror echoing through the streets of Barsalogho. The once peaceful town was now a cacophony of chaos, with people running in every direction, desperate to escape the onslaught. This was not a battlefield in some distant land, but a bustling market town in the heart of Burkina Faso, a place where families gathered to buy and sell goods, where children played, and where life thrived in its simplest form. The attackers, ruthless and efficient, stormed in on motorbikes, their faces hidden behind scarves. They moved with a chilling precision, their intent clear and their actions merciless. They were not there to negotiate, only to destroy. Their mission was one of pure devastation, leaving nothing but destruction in their wake. The scene that unfolded was one of unimaginable horror. The town, once a vibrant hub of activity, is now a war zone. People who had come to buy food and goods were now running for their lives, their faces etched with fear and disbelief. Men, women and children gunned down while going about their daily lives. The attackers showed no mercy, their bullets finding targets indiscriminately. The ground was littered with the bodies of the innocent, a grim testament to the brutality of the assault. Stalls, once overflowing with colorful fabrics and fresh produce, were reduced to smoldering rubble. The vibrant colors of the town were now replaced with the dark hues of destruction and despair. The air, thick with the stench of gunpowder and death, bore witness to the savagery that had gripped this peaceful community. Smoke billowed into the sky, a dark cloud that seemed to mirror the sorrow and anguish of the people below. This attack on Barsalogho was not an isolated incident. It was part of a larger pattern of violence that has swept across Burkina Faso, leaving a trail of devastation in its path. It was a terrifying reminder of the brutal insurgency that has plagued Burkina Faso and the wider Sahel region for years. The insurgents, driven by a radical ideology, have shown no regard for human life, their actions marked by a ruthless determination to spread fear and chaos. Their objective is clear: to establish a hardline Islamic state in the Sahel, and they will stop at nothing to achieve their goal. They use fear as a weapon, aiming to break the spirit of the people and force them into submission. But the resilience of the people of Burkina Faso is strong, and their spirit, though tested, remains unbroken. In the aftermath of the attack, the community of Barsalogho came together, united in their grief and determination to rebuild. They mourned their losses, but also found strength in each other, refusing to let the attackers' actions define their future. Aid workers and humanitarian organizations rushed to the scene, providing much-needed assistance and support. Their efforts were a beacon of hope in the midst of the darkness, a reminder that even in the face of such horror, humanity and compassion can prevail. Slowly the town has begun to rebuild. Stalls were set up once again, and the vibrant colors of fabrics and produce returned. The people of Barsalogho, though scarred by the events, showed incredible resilience and a determination to reclaim their lives and their town. Children played in the streets once more, their laughter a poignant contrast to the memories of terror. The community gathered, not just to remember the past, but to look forward to a future where peace and normalcy could return. As the sun set over Barsalogho, it cast a warm glow over the town, a symbol of hope and renewal. The scars of the attack would remain, but so too would the strength and resilience of its people. In the face of terror, they stood united, determined to rebuild and reclaim their peace. The Burkinabe government, however, refused to be cowed by this latest act of barbarity and violence. The interim leader of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and Burkina Faso's Minister of Security, Mahamadou Sana, with his voice trembling with anger and grief, vowed severe retaliation. This statement signals a new phase in the country's fight against jihadist groups, as the government seeks to demonstrate its resolve. He vowed to hunt down the perpetrators and bring them to justice, no matter the cost. This was not an empty promise, but a firm declaration. Immediately, the Burkinabe military, with the support of Russia, launched a decisive counteroffensive. Fighter jets roared over the scrubland, hunting for the attackers with precision. Ground troops, their faces grim with determination, combed the area, searching for any sign of the terrorists hiding. The message was clear: Burkina Faso would not be a safe haven for terrorists or their allies. Yet the challenges facing the government are immense and multifaceted. The terrorists, experts in guerrilla warfare, melt away into the vast Sahel, only to reappear and strike again when least expected, causing chaos. The conflict has displaced over 1 million people, creating a humanitarian crisis of staggering proportions and suffering. The economy, once a beacon of hope in the region, is now in tatters and struggling to recover. JNIM, the group responsible for the Barsalogho massacre and countless other atrocities, has become a symbol of the growing instability in the Sahel region. This group, known for its brutal tactics and relentless pursuit of power, has left a trail of devastation in its wake. It is not merely a local insurgency, it is a tentacle of a global terrorist network, intricately connected to other extremist organizations around the world. This network operates with a level of sophistication and coordination that poses a significant threat to international security. With ties to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, JNIM's fighters are not just local recruits. Many of them have honed their skills in conflicts in Mali and Libya, gaining experience and training that make them formidable adversaries. These fighters bring with them a wealth of knowledge in guerrilla warfare, bomb-making, and other terrorist tactics. They are well-armed and highly motivated, driven by a mix of ideological fervor and personal grievances. They exploit local issues such as poverty and government instability to gain support and recruit new members. By presenting themselves as champions of the oppressed, they can attract those who feel marginalized and disenfranchised. The group's ambitions extend far beyond Burkina Faso. They seek to establish a caliphate across the Sahel, a vast region that stretches from Mauritania in the west to Sudan in the east. This vision of a unified Islamic state serves as a powerful motivator for their followers, who are willing to fight and die for this cause. From this base, they aim to export terror to Africa, Europe, and beyond. The international community can ill afford to ignore this threat. What is happening in Burkina Faso is not simply a local problem. It is a harbinger of a global security challenge that demands a united and resolute response. The potential for these groups to destabilize entire regions and spread their ideology across borders is a clear and present danger. Amidst the chaos, allegations have surfaced that Ukrainian diplomats, with support from French agents, are actively working to destabilize Burkina Faso. According to the Cameroon news agency, these foreign powers are allegedly training groups in Côte d'Ivoire to provoke unrest in Burkina Faso, intending to create a pretext for French military intervention. These accusations, if true, could have far-reaching consequences for the region and beyond. Ukraine has been accused of providing support to certain factions within the Sahel, while France's military presence has been both an unstabilizing force and a source of contention. The geopolitical tensions in the Sahel are a microcosm of larger global conflicts, where local issues intersect with international interests. Russia's involvement in the Sahel, particularly through military partnerships and economic investments, has alarmed Western powers. With Burkina Faso among the countries leaning towards Russia, the Kremlin's strategy in Africa is becoming increasingly clear. Counter Western influence by building strong ties with nations in the region. The international community must navigate these challenges with care, balancing the need for security with the imperative of respecting local sovereignty and addressing the root causes of conflict. Only through a comprehensive and coordinated approach can we hope to bring lasting peace and stability to the Sahel and beyond. In a shocking turn of events, the Burkinabe government has accused Ukraine of supplying weapons to JNIM. This accusation has not only caught the attention of the local populace, but has also reverberated across international borders, raising eyebrows and concerns among global leaders and analysts alike. These allegations, vehemently denied by Kiev, have sent shockwaves through the international community. Ukrainian officials have categorically dismissed the claims, labeling them as baseless and politically motivated. They argue that Ukraine, currently embroiled in its conflict with Russia, has neither the resources nor the inclination to engage in such activities in the Sahel region. The evidence presented by Ouagadougou, while circumstantial, is compelling. It includes a series of documents, photographs, and testimonies that suggest a possible link between the seized weapons and Ukrainian military stockpiles. Analysts are now meticulously examining this evidence to determine its authenticity and the potential ramifications it may hold. It includes photographs of weapons seized from JNIM fighters, weapons that bear markings identical to those used by the Ukrainian military. These markings, which are unique identifiers, have been a focal point of the investigation, as they could potentially trace the weapons back to their origin. The international community is watching closely, awaiting further verification and analysis. The implications of these accusations are profound. If proven true, they could drastically alter the geopolitical landscape, not just in the Sahel, but globally. The potential involvement of Ukraine in arming a terrorist group could lead to severe diplomatic repercussions and a re-evaluation of international alliances and support structures. If true, they would suggest that Ukraine, already embroiled in a bitter conflict with Russia, is now playing a dangerous game in the Sahel. This could indicate a broader strategy or a desperate attempt to gain leverage in its ongoing struggle. The complexities of such a move would have far-reaching consequences, affecting not only regional stability, but also international diplomatic relations. It would also raise serious questions about the West's support for Ukraine, particularly given the potential for these weapons to fall into the wrong hands. Western nations, who have been providing military aid to Ukraine, would need to reassess their policies and ensure that their support does not inadvertently contribute to further instability in other regions. Adding fuel to the fire are allegations that France, once the dominant power in much of West Africa, is facing growing resistance from its former colonies. Protests against French military presence are becoming more common, and the accusations of interference in Burkina Faso further undermine France's position. These claims have intensified the already existing anti-French sentiment in the region, leading to protests and calls for a re-evaluation of France's role and intentions in the Sahel. The question now is whether France can maintain its influence, or if it will be supplanted by Russia and other emerging powers. These accusations, fueled by a deep vein of anti-French sentiment in the region, are particularly sensitive. The historical context of colonialism and the ongoing presence of French military forces have created a complex and often contentious relationship between France and the local populations. This latest development has only served to exacerbate these tensions. France has been militarily involved in the Sahel for years, ostensibly to combat terrorism. Their operations, which include training local forces and conducting joint missions, have been a significant part of the international effort to stabilize the region. However, the effectiveness and true intentions of these operations have been a subject of debate. However, some critics argue that Paris is more interested in protecting its own economic and strategic interests in the region, even if it means turning a blind eye to the activities of groups like JNIM. They point to France's extensive economic investments and strategic interest in the Sahel as potential motivations for their actions, or lack thereof. This perspective has led to a growing mistrust and calls for greater transparency and accountability in France's involvement in the region. As we move forward, there are several key developments to watch. Will Burkina Faso's government successfully counter the jihadist threat? How will France and Ukraine respond to the allegations against them? And what role will Russia play in shaping the region's future? These are the questions that will determine the next chapter in this unfolding story. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the geopolitical crisis unfolding in Burkina Faso. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay informed and join us as we continue to explore the most critical global issues shaping our world today.